Yes. Yes.
I still don't have it.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's the right That's me. And this is Jay. No, you said.
No, that's just first one.
Oh, I
Thank you.
Carolyn, you ready? Everybody ready? Carolyn. Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Brian?
Here.
Mr. Park?
Here.
Ms. Fiorito?
Here.
Mrs. Wells? Here. Mayor Knopf?
Here.
We have resolution R-1649, resolution appointing our attorney.
Karen, I'd like to make a note for the record that we believe this is against our form of government. It was an opinion offered today by Edward Purcell, who represents the League of Municipalities. I know we reference that a lot here as a good tool, so I used it today. And that the only option we have as the borough, myself as the mayor, is to file an injunction tomorrow and passes. So with that, please go forward.
I nominate Beckman and Newman.
I'll second it.
Offered by Mr. Card, second by Ms. Brian. Ms. Brian?
Yes.
Mr. Card?
Yes.
Ms. Fiorito?
Yes.
Mrs. Wells? No. Mayor Nolan?
No.
I'd ask for a 5-minute recess so we can have the firm step up.
Sounds right.
Sounds right. Introduce everybody. First, thank you.
Well, I represent the borough, I don't represent the council or the mayor, and as the borough attorney, I find that based on the case of Bauman versus West Patterson, which was also a Plan C Faulkner Act municipality form of government, 93 NJ Super 446, that the action of the council is ultra vires and therefore illegal, and based on that case, the resolution is null and void.
With that being said, I would recognize our town attorney as voted upon by this governing body, Marcel, Councilwoman Dorigo, and Councilwoman Moving on. Howard, would you please answer?
I don't believe it's appropriate to discuss litigation matters in public to begin with. It's private, but, can you just speak up, please? I don't believe it's appropriate to discuss pending litigation in public, so I'm not going to comment on that.
I'm sorry that you're surprised, Howard. All I did was cite the legal authority for my decision, which I do often in public as a municipal.
As did Edward Purcell, cite the same thing, who's again the attorney for the League of Municipalities, in a written decision.
Gentlemen, you're discussing pending litigation, are you not there?
First of all, do not cross-examine the mayor, and there is no pending litigation. There was a legal determination by the holdover borough attorney that the motion introduced and voted upon by the council, it was illegal under applicable case law, television case law, which is binding in the state of New Jersey. I gave you a copy of the case before the meeting. I don't know if you had a chance to read it. I'm happy to let you read it, and then you can respond to my decision substantively based on the case, or you could decide not to comment.
Well, I'll comment. First of all, you gave me a document marked privileged and confidential, so I was surprised that you tried to waive the privilege and confidentiality you have as borough attorney. Secondly, you don't make that decision, a judge may make that decision. You don't have the right to make that decision. You're certainly entitled to your opinion, but I should be sitting where you are, Mr. Padula, and then whatever action happens thereafter happens thereafter.
Okay, well, I disagree. I feel I have an obligation to the borough. You're welcome to sit up here if you'd like.
I will take the direction of the council, that is.
I put a motion that Howard, Mr. Benjamin, Howard, take the chair and relieve Mr. Padula of his responsibilities with his recommendation on his legal advice, and then we take it under advisement. And the mayor can do his course of action and under his rights as mayor.
What's legal?
What's legal, right?
Right.
Unless
So we're gonna go into another
on
lawsuit like the Dave Parker situation we found out last week.
Right. Now it's been 30 days, 3 lawsuits. I'm not quite sure how many more things we have to do to constantly,
Uphold the law, period.
especially when we also asked for 2 weeks consideration to meet and speak with you, and that was denied,
And you get someone else to weigh in on it.
to have communication.
And it wouldn't cost the borough taxpayers money for a lawsuit.
Excuse me, who denied your communication?
You did.
Yes, yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't deny your communication.
Ms. Bouillon did, she said absolutely not.
No, you had 30 days, sir.
You did
You
not.
had 30 days to decide whether or not you were gonna work with us and communicate with it. It's your responsibility as mayor
To
to
uphold the law,
communicate to the fellow, yes, and so is mine.
and that's what
It's
we're
my
gonna do.
responsibility. I believe the other 2 council members spoke to this matter, we've taken a vote. If you have a problem, follow the motion of the county, and the firm, Mr. Padula's firm, can choose to do what they choose to do.
I have the
I
choice.
think the council has spoken, the majority has spoken.
The majority has spoken on the taxpayer's back. And you don't see, that doesn't bother you.
Oh, possibly
Motion on the table.
There was a motion on the table. for-
Okay, I'll second it.
Look, why don't can I weigh in, Mayor?
Please, sir.
Rather than hinder the meeting and let public business go forward, I provided any advice I needed to give to the governing body in executive session. So I'd happily leave the meeting at this point, and we could let the legal process, whatever that may or may not be, work its own way out.
I would ask that you would just leave the table and stay in the room,
Okay.
Thank you for recognizing me.
so we can conduct the meeting.
There one, ready?
Please, a consent agenda. Does anybody have anything on there they want to take off and talk about separately?
We have to do the public.
Oh, I apologize, public portion.
I'm new to this, so I don't know if I should just fire off, I'm sorry, Kim Scorpio, 315 Shore Drive. I don't know if I should just fire off my questions so that you know what I'm asking, or if it's an individual I ask and you answer. I don't know what the new form, okay, I'll just fire them all off. With our 1649, appointing a new attorney, whether we go with this new law firm or we end up with the law firm that Bruce Padula works for, I request that we at least get a new attorney. In the past, Bruce Padula has been rude and nasty, not just to the public, but to council members, and I think it's time for a new person to sit up there who will treat both the council and the public with respect. With R1652, if Pat and or Tim can talk about the process as to how we go about collecting the money from the homeowner. That's the one where they had a sewer line
Yeah.
damage. And is there a time period they have to pay us back? Do we start charging interest? Will it go to a lien eventually? For R1647, T&M was awarded a contract without it going out to bid. I would like us to look into
Which number was that? You're like going.
1647, sorry.
Oh, well, that's not a.
Oh, that's not under
other
consent?
resolution.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
Consent agenda, please.
Okay, and I'm sorry, I was just looking at resolutions. I'll be more careful next time. Under the payment of bills, I noticed that we bought 2 laser printers for the community center. This town is in a budget crisis. Why could we not buy one and just network multiple computers to one printer, saving us a little bit of money? And then I see that we bought all sorts of table games. And it's coded to central services and not the community center, which I figured it would be coded to community center. And I'm just curious if this is a 2015 purchase order that we're paying now, or if this is a 2016 expense that we now have to account for in the current budget.
Pat, you want to start off?
Well, yeah, can it be real specific on that bill so I can look it up here in the bill list?
Sure. It's on page number 7, and we purchased it from BSN Sports. It's a little more than halfway down.
Yeah, so, I mean, I could just read basically what you're reading here, which shows that these items there did come out of central services. Basically, it's my understanding that central services is through the accounts payable office. It did come out of the 2015 budget. It's a 2015 purchase order.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's about all I can tell, but I can, I'm sorry?
It's a one-time encumbrance.
It's a one-time encumbrance, and I'd be glad, listen, Kim, if there's any detail I can provide or pull out the purchase order, we can talk also at a later date on that. I don't have any more information in that.
I would also like to know why we didn't look at purchasing used equipment, which would be way less expensive than this. We really need to start being more fiscally responsible. I know it sounds like pennies, we're talking $2,000 here, but if we could have cut it down to $500 by buying perfectly good used equipment, every little bit helps. We have to start thinking that we have no money. We are broke, and I can't have my taxes go up again this year. Thank you.
Was there any other questions?
That was
You
it.
didn't answer? Okay.
Thank you.
Simon?
Barbara Nucci, 28 Shrewsbury Avenue. I'd like to correct you, according to the last resolution passed in January, the first meeting, about public portion, the resolution language reads on all agenda items, any agenda item. It does not specify consent only.
Okay.
So Kim may want to re-ask her one question.
Okay.
And also regarding the payment of bills, the one line item I question is the Bruno Associates for grants, $2,800 appears to be a monthly fee. I've been sitting through many meetings. I do not see many grants as a result of that monthly charge. So I'm asking the council to consider that service you are providing, or they are providing for us, and possibly consider another grant agency or person.
Okay.
And there was R1663, there was a change order for, actually it's R1660, the change order number 2 for Defino. It's just typos, I believe, but it's confusing. The title of the resolution says $91, but in the body of the language it says 19. We've had some issues in the past with people not having the language and the titles match. And in regards to Ms. Kane's comment about litigation and tax burdens, it will only happen if you decide to go forward in that manner. You can save the taxpayers money by just accepting the ordinance we have on the books, on our own books, that say after 30 days, and accept a yearly appointment as being a yearly appointment where names change.
And that's very
Thank you.
fine. And we can also have the opinion of we do it things legally when we have case law, so all good.
Any questions?
Melissa Peterson, 15 Bay Street. I want to reiterate on the payment of bills on the one-time occurrences. Who kind of signs off on what purchases are going to be made on the one-time occurrences?
It was requested and it was approved.
So you just kind of decide
And I didn't decide, a request was made and it was approved, yes.
who is approved by?
It was approved by me and it went through the finance. It followed the same, it doesn't go to the finance committee, no, it doesn't.
Okay, then secondarily, on the cell phone bills, is that up to $90 or is that just a flat $90? And can we reimburse the actual amount of a monthly bill instead of a flat fee?
Specifically, which one are you talking about?
I'm talking about Mrs. Wells.
Okay, the way
cell
I
phone?
believe the formula is set up, it depends upon the plan that's in place that the person has for the reimbursement, but we can revisit that. I don't know what your suggestion is.
She has a cell phone bill that's $52 and we pay her $90 every month. So that kind of seems a little bit like she shouldn't be able to make money on it. Should she get reimbursed? Absolutely, but she should not be able to make money on it.
So you're
Does that
saying
sound right
her
to you?
cell phone bill is only $52?
Yeah, I can,
All
I
right,
guess on the
I'll-
one page that I.
your whole bill is
suggested.
over 200. For the line that you put your number out, it's $52 a month.
Cause you have the whole bill.
Yeah, actually, somebody actually opened it and it was part of that, and so yes.
Okay, thank you.
You didn't realize that?
I do realize that, Melissa.
Oh, so you're getting over the bill
No,
on
no, I do
purpose?
realize what you're saying.
Oh, okay.
And it's approved and it goes through the same process as every other council person does. But for some reason, it's always different when it's me, right, Melissa?
It's,
Right?
why is
It's
it
always
different
when
when
it's
it's,
changed.
why is it different when
It's
it's you?
in, it's fine.
This is all possible.
No, no,
It is.
it's
This
just,
is
you
all
know what it is,
possible.
no, it's not, because it's been
Point
going
of
on.
order.
It's-
Point of order.
I'm gonna
Point of
just
order.
have to say my
No,
piece.
actually, it's not.
I am not gonna spend the next year being belittled and picked upon every meeting.
Then don't, it's very simple, then it's the question is
So it's
it
up to
paid
the
up to $90 or is it supposed to be the amount of the bill?
but the question is, there's more expense than just, I think you're looking at just the line. And if there's other charges that are included in terms of data charges and things like that that are in that plan that are shared by that phone, that's the way it's been done. Not to say that you can't change it.
I thought it was up to
I think
$90 when it
there's-
was originally done. That
It was supposed to be up to $90, so I kind of remember that conversation.
I agree with you on that, Howard. Up to $90.
So if it's not up to $90, it should not be reimbursed up to $90. If you can please take a look at that. And like, I just don't want to have certain people having certain special treatment.
Well, I
I
can
mean,
assure you
that-
there's no special treatment. I, like every other employee, submit a voucher and it's approved. I don't sit
But
there
then we
and
need
say
to figure out how that's
$99.
being approved because it shouldn't be approved legally
I haven't seen it.
as far as under the, what's required. If I have a bill, I write off my phone for business, my phone includes my father's phone, I can't write off his portion of the phone bill.
Is it broken
It's
down
just-
by data? I don't know, I haven't seen the bill, I'm asking. Is it broken down by
broken
data?
There's a monthly bill and then there's the per line.
I've seen that, right. yeah,
Exactly, so that
Not that
limits the
bill.
total amount.
Sure.
So she's submitting the whole bill, which is $200, and she's getting reimbursed for 90, but the bill for that line is 52.
And that includes data and emails and everything?
It's
I don't
included.
I don't think, I'll look at it further, but I believe, and the way that it's been looked at in the past, is the line charge, I understand what you're saying, but if she has a plan and there's data and there's 3 phones on that and there's a data plan, that number may be divided by 3, and that proportionally is put towards that line. Okay, that's all I'm saying, so I will relook at it, if you're looking just at the line charge, I think there's more to it than that.
We can go over it, I'll bring it to the finance meeting, and we can actually kind of go through it, and you can kind of see, and then.
No, I know.
Then Pat, I'm sure you can speak to what can be written off and what can't be written off.
Sure can.
Anything else?
That's it.
Carol Buckler, name and address please, Ms. Buckler?
Carol Buckler, 330 Shore Drive. I'm interested in that question because I have questioned it before. Doesn't everybody have the same borough phone? And isn't it all paid by the borough?
No, some council members, they have in the past also, use their own phone, because they don't want, they want
Well,
to
I
use
don't
one
think
for
they
number.
should. This is like a Hillary thing all over in Highlands. All over in Highlands, little old Highlands. So that was not my original question. My original question, why are we reducing the performance guarantees on Pulte homes?
Pat, you wanna speak to that?
Because
I
items
think
that
the
we,
engineer
that were
does.
posted bonds for,
Carol.
completed. Items were completed that they posted bonds for.
I haven't seen anything completed except green sticks in
Did you
it.
look at the list of items that they bonded for?
They're usually a punch list of
It's not what you
Yeah,
think, it's what he actually posted the funds for.
Carol, we went through this at length with Pulte Homes, and I think Tim was in the room, it was at length, but they reduce it down as work is complete, like for example, punch list. For example, the big nut was the seawall that they put up. They have to keep a bond up, so God forbid it should break 2 years after its completion. There's that bond that stays there to repair it. But it gets sliced away as they complete certain percentages. If Dale was here, he'd probably be able to give a better explanation to it.
Carol, here, if you wanna look at the breakdown.
Yeah, it's broken down, but it's been weighed and measured, make sure that the community is protected.
And verify each one of those items.
Yes.
Okay. I see so.
Anyone else have any comments or questions?
Well, the sewer thing, sort of, I think all governed by, we're all on that. It was an accident, we're still trying to vet out what caused the accident as far as driving the line through the sewer
Oh,
line.
I understand the process, I just wanna make sure the borough actually does get reimbursed and doesn't get forgotten, not recorded.
That's
So we have to get some
information.
mechanics worked out because there might be
Yeah.
issues on both sides.
Yes,
Okay,
so we are all agreeing on that.
so it sounds like we have that covered. Good. Close the first public portion. Would anybody at the table like to take anything off the consent agenda and talk about it separately? Is everybody okay with it?
I think how we already talked about this.
Sure, we okay with that?
Or you want to pull it out?
I wanted both because
Okay.
again.
What
because
time?
1652, Mr. Turner.
Yeah.
Sewer repair?
Yes,
Okay.
and the reason for it is because I requested an itemized billing on it, so we're making sure we're.
So you wanna pull it off and not address it tonight? Okay.
I don't want the bill being paid.
Okay.
Okay, I think 1652 though authorizes us to do the emergency contract, not the payment.
Okay.
Yeah,
If you
there's a
wanna pull
contract.
Okay, yes, so then I apologize.
But then, no, what you can do is if you wanna pull the payment for further scrutiny, pull that from the payment.
I'm paying the bills, I want to pull from the payment of bills until we have an itemized billing. The authorization resolution, 100% needs to stay in there.
52, you're okay.
Yeah, we have to put it under emergency.
Is everybody else okay with everything on this?
Yes.
Okay, knowing that, I'll offer it.
Okay, and next, that's by Mr. Carr. Ms. Breon,
Yes.
Mr. Carr,
Yes.
Ms. Diariga,
Yes.
Mrs. Wells,
Yes.
Mayor Nolan.
Yes.
Resolution R 1645, resolution appointing open space committee members.
And nominate, Rigo.
Okay,
No, I think that was just the mayor's appointment with the consent of council.
okay. I'll nominate Mr. Rigo.
Thank you.
Would you like to
I'll
do that?
second it. I'll second it.
Yes,
Wait,
yes.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Ms. Breon,
Yes.
Mr. Carr,
Yes.
Ms. Diariga,
Yes.
Mrs. Wells,
Yes.
Mayor Nolan.
Yes, please.
Resolution R 1647,
Do
resolution.
you want to do the other member too? Or did that pass? I don't know if we passed.
I only know the one.
Someone just offered, just made this
Well,
Diariga.
On the first, there was two, it was me.
I don't think we had anybody right at that point.
We did, Doug
Yes.
Whitman.
Oh, okay.
We voted on Doug Whitman, so we should vote on Doug Whitman again.
It was Rebecca Can and Mr. Whitman, and that failed.
Okay,
Right.
I
And the
nominate-
motion that was just made was only for Ms. Diariga, correct?
So, correct.
so can we do another one? Or do we have to amend that?
Well, it's the same ordinance, it's the same resolution, you just need
Right.
somebody.
So you said, you
Yeah.
make a motion now to after to
With Mr. Whitman,
with Mr. Whitman.
if that's okay.
And Mr. Carr, do you second that?
Yes.
Please, roll
Ms.
call.
Breon,
Yes.
Mr. Carr,
Yes.
Ms. Diariga,
Yes.
Mrs. Wells,
Yes.
Mayor Nolan.
Yes, please.
Resolution R 1647, resolution authorizing the award of a non-fair and open contract for professional engineering service with Tina and Associates.
Okay. Anybody at the table want to speak to that? Any questions, concerns, or? Okay, I'll offer it.
Offered by Mayor Nolan,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Breon. Ms. Breon,
Yes.
Mr. Carr,
Yes.
Ms. Diariga,
Yes.
Mrs. Wells,
Yes.
Mayor Nolan.
Yes, please.
Resolution R 1650, resolution appointing auditor.
Anybody have an offer on that?
That I think is a mayor's appointment with council consent.
Okay.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Holman, Frenia, and Allison.
Holman?
Frenia, Allison, S.C.
Is there an order of record or no? Just someone
Yes.
first?
No, they're, one another has been already, this is another failed resolution.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I will offer that.
Offered by Mayor Nolan,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Diariga. Ms. Brouillon?
Yes.
Mr. Card?
Yes.
Ms. Diariga?
Yes.
Mrs. Wells?
Yes.
Mayor Nolan?
Yes, please.
Resolution R 1661, resolution amending the temporary budget.
Mr. de Blasio, would you like to speak to this, sir?
Sure, Mayor. Before the budget's adopted, we operate under temporary budgets. This is simply an amendment to that temporary budget, so it enables us to pay our bills. And that's it. I can answer any questions.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions on this? Because I think it's something we should talk about. Anybody at the table? Okay, I'll offer it.
Offered by Mayor Nolan,
I'll second it.
second by Ms. Brouillon. Ms. Brouillon?
Yes.
Mr. Card?
Yeah.
Ms. Diariga?
Yes.
Mrs. Wells?
Yes.
Mayor Nolan?
Yes, please.
Resolution R 1662, resolution of awarding fair and open contract for fellow professional services.
Anybody have an offer on that?
And that was to, I believe, Ms. Brown, you wanted to make it to higher growth.
Yes, I read through all three proposals and I felt that they would serve our town the best.
And I'm sorry, what was the name on the record again?
The first one, higher rural experts.
And was that for not to exceed 20,000?
I believe that's what it says, yes. Would you like to offer that?
I will offer that.
I'll
Offered by
second it.
Ms. Brouillon, second by Mayor Nolan. Ms. Brouillon?
Yes.
Mr. Card?
Yes.
Ms. Diariga?
Yes.
Mrs. Wells?
Yes.
Mayor Nolan?
Yes, please.
Resolution R 1665. I wanted to see if we could add this. There was an
I was
issue
gonna
with
say, I don't have that on my
Yeah,
record.
there was an issue with the Highlands Business Partnership budget that was introduced. After it was introduced and published,
Higher or lower?
then there was an amendment to it.
Higher or lower?
Actually, the budget
Or
amount,
no?
it's
Okay.
nice.
The budget was 60,000, just some of the math was incorrect.
It was
Did everybody get a chance to look at it up here?
Yeah.
Carol,
Yeah.
it was the event revenue, they had 80 and it was really 90.
No, I don't think.
Alright.
Should we repose?
No, do we have to reintroduce nothing? Or just let it go?
So should we do a motion? To accept it? I'll offer it.
I'll second. Thank you, Pat, for catching that.
Good job.
So it's no resolution, it's just accepting the amendment.
Yeah, I think we'll just go through I'll offer that, Mr. Card second.
And all in favor?
Aye. And that was 1665, correct?
Yes. Resolution R 1664. This is also with the additional, this is a resolution accepting a resignation from Mr. Greg Wells.
Good. Mr. Wells is in the
From the planning
room.
board.
We appreciate you stepping down, and just so everybody understands, at the last meeting that Councilman Card and I were at in this room for the planning board, Mr. Wells made a generous offer to step down and allow somebody else potentially to be appointed from the zoning board that had more experience and expressed the desire to stay on in some role. I think he's done a great job with this for the subcommittee master plan. And I know if they want to get involved in the recreation, which is great, I think we'll be vetting that out very soon. So I will accept that. Thank you, sir.
Nothing by Mayor Nolan,
I'll second it.
seconded by Ms. Brouillon. Ms. Brouillon,
Yes.
Mr. Card,
Yes.
Ms. Diariga,
Yes.
Mrs. Wells,
Yes.
Mayor Nolan.
Yes,
That brings us to committee reports. We start with finance.
that would be Mr. de Blasio, I believe.
Okay, the Finance Department is pretty much the same thing I reported on the last meeting. Right now, we're in the process, we've spent the last couple of weeks simply closing our books for 2015. And we're preparing our annual financial statements. They should be done by Monday. Okay, so they'll be released really soon. Everything's going pretty well. And as far as the tax office goes, we're in a tax collection period, which ends, it really runs from February 1st to February 10th. The girls are really just counting as much money as they can. So all's going well.
Okay. Next up,
Public safety.
public safety, the chief is here.
I submitted my report to the Borough Clerk. It will also be posted on our Facebook page as well as the Borough website. The only thing I do want to bring up is part of our community policing initiative. The police department, in cooperation with local PJ 48, which is PBA, will be sponsoring a Pack the Pantry food drive to benefit the LA Federal Health Food Pantry. Details can be found on our Facebook page. The drop-off site for the food is Highlands Police Department, 24 hours a day, and 27 short time.
Thank you, Chief. Do you have anything first aid fire department? No.
Well, fire department's in the
They
administrative
submitted,
report.
Mayor, both submitted.
First
well,
aid?
One submitted. Fire department did submit first aid. We'll give you an updated report from.
Then would you like to go into the administration report, sir?
Sure. Again, my report is available. I do want to touch base on some of the storm-related items. I do want to thank the members of the community and the workforce, the volunteers, everyone that was involved with the recent storm effort. A lot of it was the preparation beforehand, and of course, even up until today, doing some of the other things that need to be done. I do thank the cooperation of all residents. I understand there was some, concerns out there. We try to address them, and we did have a follow-up meeting this week. Mr. Rigo and Councilman Card were there too as a follow-up with the service providers, and I think that was very productive as well. I know one thing we do deal with during the snow removal too is the garbage and sanitation items following an event. Unfortunately, they could not get up on certain streets, even though they were sanded and all. The contractor's not going to take a chance on sending a truck up a street that they couldn't transfer. So we do apologize for some of the missed service, but I believe they're back on schedule, and they did make attempts to go back on that as well. Under administration end, I just want to make sure that we're all on board. We're still working with, and you did mention the grant writer, we still are working with Bruno Associates. However, your comments about their, abilities, I think the council does understand that as well. There's potential grant opportunities out there for a risk resiliency reduction that we applied for last year but didn't get funded. That's one thing that's on tap that they may be going after. We have an April deadline for that. That could be up to a couple $1 million for our stormwater management project. So we're looking at things like that. We did meet with Jersey Central Power and Light with regards to storm-related issues. They've been very supportive, and I think that all the utilities, they've really stepped up a lot for the whole area, not just the borough of Highlands. Also met with the New Jersey DCA with regards to the unsafe structures program. At one time, everyone who's in this room understands that we had talked about that program. We had a list, we felt very strongly, of 50 to 70 homes. Unfortunately, that's a program that required full compliance by the property owner. DCA wasn't coming in to tell you they're taking your house down. You had to willingly be involved and willingly comply, or they just moved on. Unfortunately for us, only 4 residential properties fully complied with the DCA program, but they are on tap, and we will at least have 4 properties, and some of those properties were identified previously. So on the plus side, there's some properties that we've been targeting that we know will be coming down. I don't have an update on the PPDR because that's still an appeal, but we're still hoping to get additional homes taken down through that particular program. Other than that, Mayor, we're moving ahead. I do want to mention publicly too, the Tilt Up project. It was on exec, and I'm not talking out of the exec session, but the process that we are at is that RFPs have been put out for potential demolition of the project, and we also continue to work with the NJDEP on any process that they want us to go through. And that's my report for tonight.
Okay. Board of Education, anybody have anything to Board of Education, I didn't see any correspondence.
No, I'm actually gonna ask them to put together some correspondence for the tri-district.
I know a lot of that is happening.
Yeah, and a lot of good stuff's happening, and I'm gonna work with the Borough on that, trying to get something together. I did attend the Student of the Month and
Yes.
did all those great things, and all good stuff.
Perfect.
Oh, and actually Saturday, Henry Hudson is having an open house.
This coming Saturday?
This Saturday, so, I know it's posted on the website, I'll put a blurb on Facebook, come up and see, really, the school is fantastic. I can be a true testament, seeing what my stepdaughter went through, coming here, post-Sandy, losing her home in New York, and then all of a sudden living here, and grades were not so hot, things were not so hot, and she's really at the point of almost being on honor roll and participating in a ton of stuff, so it really is almost like a private school in a public setting. It's wonderful.
Doing a great job. Highlands Business Partnership, anyone have anything from the bid?
Yes, Carla sends apologies, she's ill. So I'll just run through quickly what's up here. The Even Brew was very successful. They actually got an extra $100 at the end, so the total that they raised was $4,320. Honoring the marshals for the parade, they're through the co-grand marshals, John Woodland and Will Ryan. The chili cook-off is going to be February 21st, 3 to 7 at Savannah. Tickets are $50. All of this stuff is on the HBP site. We're also in the visitor's guide for Monmouth County with a nice 2-page spread. Miller Hill mural. Just has that last one room remaining, and as soon as that's done, it will probably be done in March. Also, HBP is working with Captain Burton to get an inventory of new signs, which actually look really nice, that have our town logo on them, so that we can have sort of like a rebranding in town. That'll go work well in conjunction with streetscape.
That's the estimate we saw, right?
Yes, the colors are really great. Do you have an update on the,
I apologize, I wasn't prepared to speak tonight.
okay. I just want to know how the inventory
Carl and
was
Chad and
going.
myself were trying to set this up, and we'll meet with TNN and the county representative and have something for the council relatively soon.
Okay, great, I'll let her know.
Thank you.
Economic development, the boardwalk railings are done at Betts Park, and we're working on completing the remainder of the Barter agreement with Tri-Bar in the spring, and then we will have a dedication ceremony then. New businesses, we're waiting for the mercantile license for the yoga still. So we hope that we're gonna be planning, issued, awesome. So then Carla will be.
You issued it right, Carol?
Outstanding.
Great. That's
So-
the list.
Exactly. Carla will now be planning the ribbon cutting ceremony.
That's awesome.
Also, Dr. Lyndon Moran has purchased the old Arms building on Bay Avenue, and she's a veterinarian. So she's going to be putting in her permits to rebuild that building, and we'll have a new vet in town.
The attorney.
The attorney's office.
Sean Burns.
I just read the ship. I had a privilege of talking with her. She's excited about coming to this community, this amount of animals and the renovation she's doing down there is going to be quite extensive. It's going to be a nice beautified building.
We were working on something behind the scenes that was brought to the table by, I believe, Mr. Charles, that helped that happen. You wrote about it, so I know it's going to be.
It's fine. And the last thing is that Maureen Welsh from the Highlands Borough Art Council made a presentation to HPP, and they're looking forward to solidifying their relationship with each other to help better the town.
Awesome. Good.
And that's all.
Thank you very much. Shared services? Do you guys think you want to?
Yeah, just, we're still working on the Thompson agreement. We're going to be reviewing that next week to make sure that we're still in compliance with the conditions that were set forth in the lawsuit from a couple of years ago. We have the former executive director of the sewage authority reviewing that for us because he was very knowledgeable in that realm. And we're also in the process of reviewing the sewer pump station shared services agreement with the Borough of Atlantic Highlands, where they provide the maintenance, upkeep, and the service to the main pump station down at 40 Shore Drive. So, our next meeting, we should have all that.
A little more information on that?
Tim, and just, I mean, now that we know obviously the Seabright thing with the DPW isn't panning out, we need to really have them start working on, we have a project worksheet open for that area. So we need to work with engineering to like, how are we gonna rework that DPW yard with the damages? Because we were basing everything on if we were gonna be housing some of their equipment, why would we engineer it, you know,
A certain way.
if it's gonna be a different way, but if it's gonna be just for us, you know, that may be something you wanna get in your hopper and.
We had a brief conversation with Tim about it, and the next phase of the storm kind of delayed a little bit, and he was on vacation. I'm going on vacation next week, but it's definitely in the hopper how to restructure that yard.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Great. Other business?
Request for approval of a bulkhead repair at 42 South Bay. We
Okay.
received a letter from Gary Monica Badrick.
Yes, we did.
They're asking for our approval on their DEP application.
Anybody at the table want to weigh in on this?
I reviewed it a little bit, it seems in order, diligently, all the Ds and Ts are crossed and all that, so I would move forward with
As a
it.
new attorney,
I have not reviewed it.
okay, I'm gonna ask Mr. Padula, have you reviewed this?
I reviewed the map and the plans.
Okay. As a legal representative, is it fair to say that it looks okay from your opinion?
I don't think,
I think-
Mr. just so the record, I don't think Mr. Padula has the authority to give
Okay.
his opinion.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, hold on. So Mr. Carr, you believe it's okay?
Yeah, I mean, I reviewed it, and again, I'm not an attorney, but I.
From your standpoint.
Why, upon dealing with Mr. Colby, talking to him about it, and different issues with different people, I think it's in line. It's also
I'm gonna ask
very
Mr. Colby.
paper, very paper laborious, but
Okay.
he's got to feel.
I know you have some experience in this, and I'm gonna ask Mr. Colby's opinion.
Well, I'm one of the owners of the property,
Understood.
so make that for the record.
Of
It's
course
a-
he said it's fine.
It's an encroachment that goes back pre-1933, before the borough owned the property. There was always a bump out in that corner, and we're just trying to get compliant with the ZEP.
Understand.
And
Okay.
that's it, that's all that's to it, really. We're not
Then you'll
changing
like to offer
anything.
a statement?
I would offer.
I'll second. I'll look for you on the second.
All right, so we're authorizing some, signature on this, a borough official?
Yeah, Paul, I guess,
Who would,
everybody agree?
Dale, oh, okay.
I would have to be Dale, no?
No, I'm thinking Tim, yeah?
Hey,
How about we have the
am I
mayor?
voting? No, well, I'll sign, the request has come in, if I'm authorized to sign off on the letter, I certainly will do that.
Okay, so that was
I would
motion by
say,
Mr. Carr?
I would ask one thing that we have our attorney at the table just review it. So
Absolutely.
If that's okay.
Absolutely.
And then just please communicate with Dale if you have any issues.
Yeah, just so we get it back before the next meeting,
Yes,
so
please.
that way they're not waiting.
I will do it by Friday.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
With that added, Mr. Carter, please.
I'll offer.
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Brouillon? Ms. Brouillon?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Ms. Fiorito?
Yes.
Mrs. Wells?
Yes.
Mayor Noel?
Yes, please.
Mayor's appointments to the planning board.
Okay, this is something that was brought to the table, I guess the end of last year, probably middle of last year that we talked about it, and it kind of went away and then came back this year. So what we are trying to accomplish is getting the boards combined and also streamlining the process of anybody that wants to do anything from the homeowner to the person that wants to have multiple homes. So I've spoken to the two chairmen that are in the room who are on our current zoning and planning chairmen, taken their advice and many others, and here's what I came up with. So the way it reads is class 1 is the mayor or anyone I designate to go to that particular meeting. We did talk about this in executive, and it's not a secret, so it's nothing that we can share. We're gonna try to rotate people into that, so like other council members, starting with our council president on, could actually go, because I don't think that, you get a different flavor when you're sitting on the other side of the table at the planning and zoning board meetings. You have a lot of the members in attendance tonight, and I think they can attest to that. So, right now, for the record, it's me. I'll offer Mr. Card as Class 3. Class 3 is the governing body representative, and I'll offer Mr. Card for that, if anybody wants to second that.
Well, they're all yours, right?
All you know.
No, this is voted on by the council.
Oh, that one is?
The ordinance says this is voted on by the council.
I'll second it.
Roll call, please, second by Ms. Kane.
Ms. Brouillon?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Ms. Fiorito?
Yes.
Mrs. Wells?
Yes.
Mayor Noel?
Yes, please. Borough representative, I'm gonna ask Tim to continue on, because he's been on the planning board, I think, for at least the last 5 years. Now, the class 4 is all the people that will vote on the zoning. To be clear, the council representatives, myself and Mr. Carter, whoever's sitting in my chair, will not vote on any zoning. We have to recuse ourselves from those proceedings. Or if we know it's just zoning, as Jack Serpico told Mr. Carter and I at the last meeting, don't even come to the meeting, because you're just gonna walk out after a roll call anyway. I'd ask Andrew to continue on that. Now, I just got one thing. The ordinance reads we have to stagger people on there. So class 4 people are appointed for 4 years, but not everybody's gonna do 4 years, because you have to be staggered on and off, so you're not losing the whole board in 1 year, potentially. Same thing with alternates. Alternates are 2-year appointments, but we staggered 2 of them and 2 of them in 17 and 2 of them in 16 to expire. So I'd ask Andrew to serve as class 4 member with an expiration of 12/31/19. I asked Larry Colby to serve as a class 4 member. His expiration is 12/31/18. I asked Art Gallagher, who was happy to come back once we got rid of the Facebook ordinance, to serve the 12/31/19. I asked Ken Braswell, who's our current zoning chairman, to serve till 12/31/19. Chris Francie, who has a lot of experience as a councilman also, to serve till 12/31/18, and Rob Knox to serve till 12/31/18 as Class 4 members. Alternates, there's enough for everybody, unfortunately, we're gonna lose some people. Now, the way it works is alternate, if somebody's conflicted out of those Class 4 members, Andrew, Arthur, any of those people we just mentioned, it gets voted on by order of the alternate. So the first alternate potentially has the first opportunity to vote on anything that comes up. They're also considered alternate Class 4 members with a 2-year appointment, but like I said, 2 of them will only 2 years. I asked Jim Fox to serve till 12/31/17, Bruce Kutosh to serve till 12/31/16, Rosemary Ryan, who's a Board of Education member also, which is in that ordinance, to serve till 12/31/17, and Greg Wells, who graciously stepped down and served till 12/31/16. Now, there's 3 people that we didn't put on there. It does mention in some of the correspondence in other towns that there's a citizen advisory group, and I think that we should try to put them on that group also, so everybody gets a chance to be involved. That's it. Can you guys kind of carry this? I think you were the only one that we offered, that's what it said, so.
And that brings us to public portion.
Okay. Questions? Greg, sorry.
Hey,
Name and address.
Greg Wells, 246 Basin Drive, Highlands, New Jersey. Tim, 2 questions for you. Can you share the 4 homes that came in compliance with the demo yet, or?
I don't have them with me. One off the top of my head that I know is there's a white structure down here on Bay Avenue that sits off the bay. I believe there's 2 on Gravelly Point, and I think there's 1 on Cedar. So those were the 4. I don't have the exact addresses, but
I heard a rumor about the Bay one. That's the one kind of right by the park?
across the street from the park.
Yes. So, it's a good one.
Yeah, and that wasn't, just to be clear too, so that everyone understands, that wasn't an economic, because I've had comments about that too. Doesn't matter who owns the property or any of that, that didn't weigh into DCA. If you complied with their program, you didn't have to be economically eligible to apply for that. So, yeah, I can get the specific address.
Second question, I think we talked about in the December meeting, the code enforcement, we're gonna roll an update on that into your update?
Yeah, I actually do have it.
It's in
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
in
wait,
there.
I didn't get a paper. So, but it is, you just didn't talk about it.
Yeah, it's in there. I'm not, because of certain things, if I mention some things and not others out of the report, it becomes convoluted. I do know one of the things though that was mentioned was the summonses, and I know there were 19 summonses issued this month, most regarding property upkeep issues. So I asked Dave to break that out a little bit more as we go. I know there were 88 inspections done, and those are off the top of my head in the report, but I know there was a question about having more about the summonses, what type of summonses to this degree. I think that was the comment from the floor. So, and snow removal was, of course, and it's going to be ongoing, but he did, but we had a lot of calls about that too, because he did notify folks that they should make a better attempt at removing snow on certain issues.
I think it's gonna evolve as we go, because it's kind of still.
Yeah, no,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The whole time, and at some point, taking these questions to the public at all these meetings, and, you know, the combined land use board, and things like that, I think they'll get a little bit more of a flavor for what everybody kind of wants to know, and adapt that to the report, I'm sure, especially if we're going in that direction. that we
Yeah.
want to keep it.
If one piece is available, we'll
Cool. Thanks.
Okay? Please.
Barbara Nucci, 28 Shrewsbury Avenue. Regarding the mayor role for the land use board, your selections, I remember when we first passed the new ordinance to create the land use board, there was language saying that all members had to be Highlands residents, which surprised me when I read the ordinance, because I do know Mr. Hills sat on the planning board. Isn't that not a problem, by having Mr. Hill on that board as a non-resident?
The ordinance that I read said it had to be somebody that worked for the borough, that was not an elected official, and that was it. That's all I read into it, if I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
Okay, I just remember that I
Yeah,
took note of the language because it surprised me that the land use board consisted of all residents only. So you may want to just
the land
check
use
that
board, you
out.
don't think it should be all residents, or you think it should be?
No, I'm just going by the language you passed and approved
Okay.
and voted on to go in our books. you know, I don't really have an opinion
Okay,
either way, but I just checked the language.
okay, I'll take a look at that one.
And I want to get back to the code enforcement. Has any progress been made with the new abandoned registry and the software involved? Do you know? Mr.
Dave is
Hill?
working on that daily. I know he actually had a meeting with Rollbase, who is the company that's integrating the system that the construction office did get last year. So I know he's really
getting ready?
diligently working
Okay.
at putting that into play.
Can
Okay.
I add something? He's also working with someone that I know, and he's researching titles and deeds that he hasn't been able to find. And this person has volunteered their professional services to the town, and is a summer resident.
Okay, so then that that ordinance will be in effect once all that gets going?
Yeah, he keeps moving it. I know he's
Yeah,
he's in contact with me regularly. He's a little frustrated at certain things, but it's a matter of getting all that software into place and moving it on. So we want him to continue on that path.
And
Dave Mikado.
Dave McConnell, code enforcement. And for Mr. Hill, you mentioned the Bruno grant, they were looking for something relating to stormwater management. Do you have Steve, the chairman of the Environmental Commission, involved? He may be able to help
was-
this grant work.
It was actually the grant that was submitted to the resiliency project last year that we were close to being funded with. What they found though is the project that we had selected was not as much as flood prevention as stormwater management. So we're looking at different flood control measures that we feel they would potentially fund. We'll certainly check with Steve or anybody.
Well, Only because so much falls under that commission for all of it, flooding, environmental, and stormwater management, that he might have some insight, because he's very familiar with all that type of
He
language.
can, I would encourage him to also get in touch with me directly.
Okay,
It's always been an open door on that, so if they have any suggestions coming from the Environmental Commission, I would suggest that they forward them on.
okay. That's it.
Good, Barbara?
Yes, thank you.
Please.
Kim Scorpio, 315 F Shore Drive. I want to go back to Resolution 1647. What I was going to comment on was that it was the tax map work awarded to T&M, and I'd like the council to consider following Seabright's lead. They have vetted a number of engineering firms so that when small things like this come up, they can actually bid it out to their select group of firms. I don't know if it's 3 or 4, and they don't have to, they've already vetted them, so there's not a
Pre-selection,
long involved
basically?
process. And it's nothing against T&M, it's fiscal responsibility. We really need to work harder at getting our expenses under control. For Tilt Up, I don't know, I know we're actively pursuing an RFP and getting bids, but I also want to make sure that the council is going to go forward with accepting Tilt Up's offer to get the permits and start that process. Because I would hate for our RFPs to be delayed and Tilt Up not move forward with the permit, and now we're stuck, and now the DEP we've worn out their patience, and now they start fining us.
One of the things
So
we
I
talked
kind of would
about-
like to explore both prongs.
Yeah, one of the things we talked about in executive was obviously, no matter what, securing a permit, going through the process, so that is gonna happen.
Okay. And I just want to speak to the snow removal. This is our 3rd winter where we've had a major storm. If this was a rare occurrence every 5 years, I might not be so critical. But it's hard, and this is also the first winter I have a dog that likes long walks. He doesn't go on my property. So I'm out and about and I'm walking the streets. It is very difficult to walk my dog when the borough's not plowing their own sidewalks. The vacant lot next to Valley National Bank had not been plowed. To make it even worse, the borough or somebody, I don't know who, plowed snow onto the sidewalk. So even if I wanted to get out and shovel it myself, which I did a little bit one day, you can't go because there's a 4-foot mound of snow over 10 feet of the sidewalk. If they want to push the snow, just push it another couple feet onto the grass. And then I continue walking down, and on the rest of Shore Drive, there's snow piled in front of the vacant house. Obviously, nobody's going to come out and shovel that snow or try and clear their walkway. It's hard because I now have to walk in the street. Luckily, it was plowed to the curb, I could walk in the shoulder, but then there's cars parked sometimes. So now I'm walking in the middle of Shore Drive, and in case you hadn't noticed, people speed in this town. I don't know what to do. The police say they enforce it. Maybe we need a crackdown, but I am now walking my dog in the dark in the middle of the street. Thank God I bought a blue ski jacket just for that purpose. At least people can see me, hopefully. And then, a week after the storm, it was Sunday. I walk all the way down Shore Drive to Miller. The fire department didn't shovel their sidewalk. If the borough's not going to take care of their own properties, we can't expect other people to. I really want us to get a snow removal ordinance, and I've been doing some work, looking at other towns, finding out what it is. Somebody told me, well, we never adopted one because we're worried about the little old ladies who can't get out to shovel. This is Highlands. If somebody put out the word on Facebook and said, you know what, Bicycle Betty can't get out and shovel, you'd have 5 people on her property in 20 minutes, and it would be done in 5. We help each other out. We have too many vacant, abandoned properties where nobody's maintaining them. Start fining them for not shoveling their snow. I'm not about fines to generate money for the borough. It's all about compliance. But if we can make a couple of extra bucks because we fine them $100 for not shoveling, and then we fine them the fee that we pay somebody to shovel it, we're going to make some money back on these storms. I don't want it to be that way, but why not? If I do the research, is the council open to adopting a snow removal ordinance?
Mr. Carr wants to address that.
Yeah, yes, we,
Ken.
Ken, thank you. And, we had a meeting Friday with Chief and a lot of the different departments, and it was a great roundtable discussion addressing the very issues you're talking about, how the community has to work with the DPW, the volunteers, as well as the fire department and the OEM officer. It was a great conversation. We're rolling with that. So if you do have ordinances from other communities, do forward them on to us. It's something we're going to definitely explore.
And I believe too,
Meeting, post-storm meeting,
Yeah, but yeah, it was a post-storm meeting.
Good, bad.
It was good.
well, we could have done better.
Yeah, and it was a great roundtable discussion. Everything you were talking about was brought up. We're definitely going to aggressively address that on how to get the community. Just like you said, if someone's physically unable to shovel their sidewalk,
We're not there. Legitimately.
we can help each other out, as well as making sure from Veterans Park to fire department, all our public spaces are shoveled properly.
and I did, I talked with Mr. Mercado today. I believe he already has provided an ordinance to Bruce, a draft one, because I have the same issues on Linden. It's, you know, I got up
It's
that
school and
morning.
everything too.
Yeah, I ended up having to drive on the way to school because there was, again, the ferry traffic's coming down at 6:50 in the morning. It's dark, it's black, and although we shovel not only ours, but probably 5 or 6 other neighbors out, you know, it's just, I can't let her go down there. So I said, you know, how do we do this? And then we started talking about the snow ordinance and that there isn't one currently on the books. So I think by like 9 in the morning, I'd spoken to Chief and Dave Mercado. They're working together, and we're gonna get one on the books that is enforceable. So,
So yes, we'd be open if you had any other drafts from another town. Good. Yes.
Just to, Kim's
Can you
point.
give us a name and address for the
Sure,
record?
Rosemary Flannery, 1 Central Avenue. Kim's point about helping people who are unable to, shovel for themselves. There are other towns, perhaps not in this area, but in other states, where they use this as an opportunity for fundraisers. So like Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, other community groups do that, where they are able to, come out and help people shovel snow. That's something we might want to explore as opposed to an ordinance, because a $100 fine is really expensive.
Yeah.
And I think if we can make it a more positive thing than a penalty, it might be something we want to explore.
Good idea. Just Francie, name and address for the record?
Excuse me, Chris Francie, 36 Fifth Street. A couple of quick ones. T&M is doing an update of our tax map. The output of this work is going to be a replacement of the platform. Is that the goal of what they're doing?
I didn't hear your last word.
You didn't hear the last part of it, sir.
Right now, we have a big flat book on the counter as a tax map for people to access. All right, it's called plat book. All right.
That's not what we heard. Okay. Go on.
Sorry about that. What is T&M's output from this project going to result
They're
in?
gonna update, recent subdivisions, certain things like that will be added to the map.
And the map is going to be
Submitted to the
what?
state.
I'm sorry?
It gets submitted to the state.
Right. And then how is it available to the residents?
Do you wanna see if it's available
It'll go on the website, like-
Well, I'm suggesting, how is it going
But
to
it
be
should be
different?
available electronically, your suggestion?
Okay. Well, how is it going to be different than the Monmouth County Property View that we all use now? Which is got complete records, tax maps, pictures of deeds or whatever. I'm wondering why we're doing this piece of work, honestly.
We usually do it just about every year to update our
You have to update anything, the county doesn't automatically know what's been updated. That information is also sent to the county, and we're hoping that the two combined will give us a better picture of the updates that have been done.
So this will.
So are you going to replace the plat book so that residents can access it?
The maps are accessible in Borough.
I'm sorry?
They're accessible.
Yes, the answer is yes.
Yes.
And once they update,
It's updated, right?
it'll be updated.
Yeah, there's errors on this.
Okay, if we update it every year, that book hasn't been updated in.
No, I think the resolution says it
Okay.
hasn't been done since 2010.
Second question is, what is the COA planning, professional planners going to do for us?
They're going to be doing a survey of the town and all of our, for the fair housing requirements.
There's a lot of this happening right now in the state, Chris,
Correct,
and we're trying to get on board and just be right. And this is the
so they're going to identify
compliant.
our COA status.
Part of the outcome, yes.
Yes, the outcome.
That would be the outcome of that
The outcome
result.
will be.
The 137 from Exxon, have we heard anything back from them?
I have it in the car. No, just kidding.
That was collected,
No,
yes,
no,
a couple months ago.
it couldn't have been collected.
Why, you didn't get your, no.
You didn't talk about it.
Oh, well, I don't always bring good news, but yes,
Congratulations.
we did a couple weeks ago, they did give us the 137. We were hoping to get a little more, but we did get the check reimbursed for 137.
What is this?
Nicely done.
This is for the road portion of the project.
Been going on for
I know.
a long time.
Good job.
Very good.
Sorry, I didn't mention
Is
that.
that issue closed?
Pretty much, yes. That was one of the last big things out there, let's say that. Sir, please name and address for the record.
David Toro, 47 South Bay Avenue. I didn't get to speak at the last meeting because of the pavilion out front. I just couldn't wait it out. About the clam plant, are you guys really interested in leasing the clam plant? Because this is not feasible, what I'm reading. I mean, there's no way. You can't even fill the clam plant at 240, you wanna make it 480? I mean, I don't know who wrote this up, but, I mean, did this come from the consulting? I
We
mean,
don't have an RFP out there, Dave.
Well, there's something in your last, borough packet here with, guidelines of what they'd like to see done with the plant plan. I can bring it up to you, Tim.
No, I know there are guidelines,
Do
but
you mind showing us the draft?
It's a draft.
yeah, it's a draft, but that's recommendations, not mandatory.
The resources won't even cover this at the moment.
We're aware of some of the items in the report, the Mansi report, and there were recommendations made. That doesn't mean that they're gonna go forward into the RFP. The RFP has not been drafted as of yet.
This was recommendations of the draft for this big.
Well, I know.
Not
A
got
lot of fishermen have been asking me about it, and I just, just like,
I would be happy to sit down with them and discuss it and their thoughts, definitely.
I think it's fair to say, Dave, there's been ongoing reviews
And
with
it's in,
borough representatives, Mr. Card, and I know that Mr. Hill, I believe, was at the last meeting also.
well, it's someone that's interested in leasing the plant plant like myself, I can tell you, there's no way.
I think
And we've had other folks tell us in the industry just the opposite. So when the RFP is put together,
Yeah.
if the RFP does go out, everyone will have the same opportunity to weigh in on it.
I think you'll see some movement within 30 days, sir. It's fair to say.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Sir.
Excuse me, Scott Keller, 8 Huddy. Small complaint, job that Kylie's been doing with the water lines. I live on Huddy, and they've got some asphalt patches. I don't know when they're coming back, how long it's supposed to be there, but they're already caving in.
From the weather?
Points and this and that, so I don't know who
Mr. Hill, do
actually
you have
oversee
any?
them, but
We will be talking, I know they came in and spoke to us regarding another project and what they're going to be coming back, I think it was Cedric, Huddy, there's a couple streets in there. One of the alternatives that they've offered up to the town, because there's ongoing lifts still taking place, throughout the neighborhoods. And we haven't committed to it, to letting them off the hook in any way, shape, or form. But they're asking us if we would do the temporary repair and allow them to then do a neighborhood street perhaps that we know isn't going to be impacted by any lifting or is pretty much done. So we are in negotiations with them, but we do tell them they're ultimately responsible for fixing their repairs. But the discussion has been open because they know certain streets are still lifts going on. They want to know if the borough would potentially work with them on that. So what we would do,
Kind of does make sense.
if we agree to
That's
it,
fine, but
we would have to do the repair and maybe get a Kylie in to do it, and then that would be on us. So they would shift the funds that they would have allocated to another street or two and possibly get full repair or restoration of the street in need. So
they,
we're sensitive to that, and I do have.
11th Street of Mass, gravel, stones left out, and again, the asphalt caving in, it's not just me, it's a couple on the street trips.
Okay.
Just want to let you know.
So Scott, you say their sweep up is not quite where it needs to be. When they're sweeping up and cleaning up after themselves.
They left my house terrible, and a couple other ones as well, so they're not really clean, defending very well.
We'll notify them of that, Scott.
Thank you.
Mayor O'Neill, did you have anything, sir?
No, I hope that, no.
Anybody else? This side of the room, have any questions, concerns? Okay. I'll vote for adjournment.
Mayor Knowles?
I'll second by Ms. Carl.
Before we break up, everybody, if you haven't already applied for the Recreation Committee, please do. It's the intent of the council, we'll start appointing people, I believe at the next meeting, which is 2 weeks' time. Did everybody get a copy of the questions?